Right then, coffee lovers, prepare yourselves for today's serving of political delusion so potent it could power a small town. We've got a government minister claiming they have a plan to stop small boats while nearly 900 people crossed the channel in a single day. That's not a plan, that's a catastrophe with a press release attached. If this is what success looks like, I'd hate to see what failure resembles. Actually, scratch that, we're already witnessing failure, they're just calling it early days and hoping nobody notices the difference. Picture this, over 25,000 people have crossed the channel this year alone. That's one person every 12 minutes, folks. Every 12 minutes. By the time you've made a cup of tea and checked your phone, another boat has arrived. It's like a really depressing version of London buses, except instead of being late, they're arriving with clockwork precision and nobody seems to know how to make them stop. But here's the kicker, Crime and Policing Minister Diana Johnson went on the Today programme and claimed Labour has measures in place to stop people from entering this country. Measures in place. While 900 people crossed in 13 boats the day before her interview. It's like claiming you've got measures in place to stop rain while standing in a thunderstorm without an umbrella. The audacity is genuinely breathtaking. When pressed by the presenter about whether these so-called measures are actually working, Johnson's response was pure political gold, it's early days. Early days. They've been in power for over a year, the crossing numbers are at record levels, and apparently it's still early days. At what point does it stop being early days and start being catastrophic failure? When the entire population of France has relocated to Dover. The presenter, bless them, didn't let this slide and pointed out the obvious, it's not working though, is it? A simple statement of fact that apparently needed repeating because Johnson's response was to double down with another, it's early days. It's like watching someone insist their diet is working while demolishing a chocolate cake. The evidence is right there, but they're determined to ignore it. Johnson then proudly announced that they have for the first time ever since we left the EU, an agreement with the French. An agreement with the French. Groundbreaking stuff. It's almost as if international cooperation requires, well, actually cooperating internationally. Who could have predicted such a revolutionary concept? Certainly not the previous government, who seemed to think diplomacy involved shouting at people in different languages and hoping for the best. This miraculous agreement she's referring to is Keir Starmer's one-in one-out pilot scheme with Emmanuel Macron. The name alone should tell you everything you need to know about its effectiveness. One in, one out. It's like trying to empty a swimming pool with a teaspoon while someone's filling it with a fire hose. The mathematical absurdity is stunning. Here's the really hilarious part, this groundbreaking scheme is expected to return roughly 50 people per week. 50 people per week. Meanwhile, 900 people crossed in a single day. So they're planning to return about 2,600 people per year while over 25,000 have already arrived this year alone. It's like trying to solve a flood by providing everyone with a single paper towel. The scale mismatch is so enormous it would be funny if it weren't so tragic. Johnson called this very positive, which makes you wonder what she'd consider negative. Perhaps if the French started actively catapulting people across the channel? At this point, returning 50 people per week while hundreds arrive daily is like trying to stop a tsunami with a kitchen sponge. The optimism is admirable, but the mathematics are devastating. The minister then claimed the French are now looking at some of the tactics that they can employ in northern France. Looking at tactics. Not implementing them, not deploying them, just looking at them. It's like saying you're looking at ways to lose weight while ordering a second dessert. The commitment level is truly inspiring. She specifically mentioned that the French are reconsidering their policy of not intervening when people are already in small boats. This is apparently a breakthrough, which tells you everything about how low our expectations have become. Getting the French to consider maybe doing something about boats leaving their shores is being presented as a diplomatic triumph. It's like celebrating because your neighbor agreed to think about maybe not throwing their rubbish in your garden. Johnson then praised Home Secretary Yvette Cooper and Starmer for building up the relationship with the French in the last 12 months. Building up the relationship? While boat crossings hit record levels. It's like praising a fire chief for improving community relations while the entire town burns down behind them. Sure, everyone's getting along great, but perhaps that's not the most pressing issue right now. The excuse for this ongoing catastrophe? The smugglers have had 6 years to develop their business model. 6 years to develop their business model. As if criminal gangs are running sophisticated multinational corporations with quarterly reports and strategic planning sessions. Right lads, this quarter we're focusing on customer experience and operational efficiency. The idea that the government needs more time to figure out how to stop people in dinghies is genuinely embarrassing. Johnson claims they're going after those gangs and putting measures in place with the French and Germans. Going after the gangs while the gangs are literally operating with impunity in broad daylight. It's like claiming you're going after bank robbers while they're openly advertising their services on billboards. The disconnect between rhetoric and reality is absolutely stunning. The involvement of the Germans is apparently another breakthrough. They've agreed to allow raiding warehouses where small boats are stored. Allow raiding warehouses. Presumably, before this agreement, German authorities were protecting criminal operations and refusing to let anyone investigate obvious illegal activity. The bar for international cooperation has clearly been set so low it's practically underground. What's particularly galling is the timing of Johnson's interview. She's claiming progress and talking about early days while nearly 900 people crossed the channel the day before. It's like a football manager claiming the team's improving while they're losing 10-0. The scoreboard tells a very different story from the press conference. The total figure of 25,346 crossings this year represents the fastest pace since records began in 2018. Fastest pace. Under a government that campaigned on stopping the boats. It's like hiring a security guard who immediately unlocks all the doors and then claims to be implementing new safety measures. The professional incompetence is genuinely staggering. What makes this even more absurd is that these aren't unexpected problems. Small boat crossings have been headline news for years. This isn't a surprise crisis that caught everyone off guard, it's a predictable challenge that requires actual solutions, not just diplomatic meetings and pilot schemes that return 50 people while thousands arrive. The one-in one-out scheme perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with this government's approach. It sounds like policy, it involves international agreements, and it generates positive headlines. But mathematically, it's completely useless. It's like trying to empty the Titanic with a bucket while ignoring the massive hole in the hull. Johnson's repeated emphasis on early days while boat crossings hit record levels is political gaslighting of the highest order. When does accountability kick in? When do early days become obvious failure? At what point do we stop accepting excuses and start demanding results? Apparently, not when 25,000 people have crossed illegally in a single year. The French cooperation angle is particularly rich given that France has been dealing with this issue for years while successive British governments ignored it. Now that Labour's finally discovered diplomacy exists, they're presenting basic international cooperation as some kind of revolutionary breakthrough. It's like claiming credit for inventing the wheel while everyone else has been driving cars for decades. The warehouse raids in Germany sound impressive until you realize that criminal gangs have probably moved their operations by the time the paperwork gets approved. These aren't sophisticated intelligence operations, they're bureaucratic processes that take months to implement while criminals adapt in real time. It's like trying to catch speeding drivers by sending them strongly worded letters. What's most frustrating is that there are probably genuine solutions to this crisis, but they require political courage and long-term thinking rather than pilot schemes and press releases. Instead, we get ministers claiming success while presiding over record-breaking failure. It's like celebrating your diet plan while gaining weight daily. The human cost of this political theater is enormous. People are dying in the Channel while politicians play diplomatic games and announce pilot schemes. Meanwhile, communities across Britain are struggling with the consequences of failed immigration policy while being told everything's under control. The disconnect between government rhetoric and lived reality couldn't be starker. So there you have it, coffee addicts, a government claiming to have a plan while presiding over the fastest pace of illegal channel crossings in recorded history. It's early days, apparently, which is political speak for we have absolutely no idea what we're doing, but please don't notice. One person every 12 minutes, 25,000 this year alone, and the best they can offer is returning 50 people per week through a pilot scheme with France. What do you think? Is this really just early days for a year-old government, or are we witnessing policy failure dressed up as diplomatic progress? Should we be impressed by warehouse raids in Germany while boats arrive daily in Dover? Drop your thoughts below, smash that subscribe button for more political reality checks with your morning brew, and remember, when politicians start talking about early days while everything's falling apart, it's probably time to start counting the actual days until the next election. Until tomorrow's chaos, keep your expectations low and your coffee strong.